2000? Wait! I'll get into your pants!
Who remembers Bedazzled? A loser who's granted 7 wishes from the devil, but each time he thinks he gets what he wants, something goes horribly wrong? Back in the year 2000, it didn't exactly blow up the box office, with a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and critics calling it flat and lame. Shut up, Kirk Honeycutt. You're flat and lame. But I rewatched it recently, and it holds up so much better than I remember. So today, let's look back on all those wacky wishes, how they were shot, and all the crazy ways that made this one of my favorite movies ever. But before we do all that, let's get to know a guy named Elliot Richards. As he heads to work on a Monday morning, he holds the door open for one person, then an endless stream of people follow. And this right here is where I instantly connected with him. Sure, Brendan Fraser playing Rick O'Connell from The Mummy was entertaining to watch, especially that one part where he just throws a chair at someone. Like what? But I couldn't exactly relate to this swashbuckling treasure hunter. The IT nerd he played in this movie, though, was much more believable. We learn here that this guy isn't exactly popular.
I don't know what you've been told, little lady, but the rest of us start at 9. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding.
Pretty much all his coworkers hate him, try to avoid him, or laugh at him as he tries to talk to Allison, the girl of his dreams. It's enough to make him break down and finally say out loud,
"Dear God, I would give anything to have that girl in my life."
Has there ever been a more perfect character introduction in a movie before? Without Elizabeth Hurley, this movie wouldn't have worked nearly as well as it did. She plays so well off of Fraser that you completely buy the relationship, and from the looks of it, they got along behind the scenes too, which is adorable. Now, in order to make Elliot believe that she's actually the devil, she asks him to make a simple wish.
Okay, I wish I had a Big Mac and a large Coke.
It is done.
As a kid, I don't think I registered how blatant of a product placement this was. The only thing that beats it is probably the new War of the Worlds remake on Amazon Prime, where the Amazon worker driving his Amazon van orders a drone off Amazon with his Amazon account. But rewatching it now as an adult, all I could do was zoom into this one frame and pick apart the nostalgia. Oh man, remember McSalad shakers? Remember the cases displaying Happy Meal toys? Remember when an entire meal only cost $2.99? And the punchline to this entire tangent is that Elliot has to pay for the food himself.
Oh yes, this truly is the work of the devil. I'm gonna go now.
I actually kind of want McDonald's now. Shit! They got me. And before you know it, the devil drops a contract on him. Just standard stuff, but in exchange for the 7 wishes, he has to give her his soul. When you didn't read the Apple terms and conditions and it said you would turn into a cat, and you were like, what the fuck, but it's too late, you are a cat now. He's about to call the whole thing off when she shows him a vision of what could be. So he signs the deal, and the fun was about to begin. I always thought that the first wish was a great way to start things off. Being extremely rich and powerful is totally the first thing people would want. And to really sell this idea, Elliot had to look completely different.
The Colombian drug lord was fun because it was a much bigger nose and it completely changed his character with his hair and the mustache.
Having one actor play multiple roles with crazy makeup wasn't a new concept. Eddie Murphy did it in The Nutty Professor, Mike Myers did it in Austin Powers, Dana Carvey did it in Master of Disguise. Back in the 90s, people ate that shit up. But the work done on Fraser here was much more subtle. It's this kind of experience in prosthetics that would eventually lead to his Oscar-winning role in The Whale. Wow, that's rude. But it wasn't just the makeup that created the character. Fraser had the added challenge of speaking another language.
Como dices, no habla español. Un momento. Estoy hablando español. Hola Juan. Hola Esteban. ¿Dónde esta es la biblioteca?
This whole scene was so relatable because anyone who's ever tried to learn Spanish has had to say the word biblioteca at least once. And I always wondered how fluent he actually was in this scene. You guys can tell me in the comments, but I think we can all agree he gets points for trying. After he finds out that Allison's been cheating on him, we're whisked away to a factory where we learn the real reason he's so rich.
¿Qué es eso? ¡Ay! ¡Es cocaína! ¡Cocaína!
Of all the lines in this movie, see what I did there? Cocaína is probably top 3. Even decades after watching this, I still randomly say it to myself out of nowhere. And I love this little detail of his coworker sneaking some of the kids. Pretty soon, everything starts to fall apart, and it's clear that making the perfect wish wasn't going to be as easy as it sounds. So in order to find out what Allison really wants, the devil takes Elliot right into her bedroom.
She's in the shower. Naked. Go on, go ahead. Take a peep.
You must think that I'm really perverted, don't you? That's what you think. You think I'm some sad, desperate, twisted, pathetic loser.
Yes.
Well, in that case, maybe I'll just take a quick look.
They soon learn that what she really wants is a sensitive man, so it's time for Elliot to make his second wish.
Hey,
I'm back, my love.
where'd you run off to, huh?
I went to make a garland of beach plums to place atop your glorious head like a crown.
If you're a Frasier kid like me, you probably grew up with this scene, and you're probably the ones adding to the 1 million views it has on YouTube. Aside from the impeccable makeup here,
It kind of made him look odd, almost albino.
albinos are odd guys, we can say that, right? The way Frasier effortlessly portrays the most sensitive man in the world really showed off his range as a comedic actor. It's not just how he couldn't stop crying at the sunset, it's not just his majestic dolphin song. It's that the whole time, as the one person who should have been most in tune with what women want, he was totally clueless how Allison was really feeling. All these micro moments where you can see she's fed up with him really drives home that this second wish was doomed from the start. Turns out there is such a thing as being too sensitive, and sobbing at the sunset multiple times isn't exactly what women are looking for.
When is that darn thing gonna set?
It must have been so fun for the actors to film these scenes, to play out such wildly different roles. And Frances O'Connor, who plays Allison, doesn't get nearly enough credit for what she does in this movie. You needed someone who could cling onto Frasier like the cover of some trashy romance novel, then in the next second, loathe his entire existence? With each new wish, I was just as excited to see what she was going to bring to it. Sprinkling cameos from his 3 coworkers, and the diversity in characters was insane. They steal Allison away, but not before she tells Elliot what she's really feeling.
You're just too sensitive. I'm about to go out of my mind here. I just want to be with a man who'll ignore me and take me for granted and who's only pretending to be interested in who I am and what I think so he can get into my pants.
That would be me.
Oh, thank you.
But if being too emotional wasn't gonna work, he had to go in the complete opposite direction. Now it was time to be admired for something he was really good at. The cheerleaders went wild, the crowd got excited. This guy maybe got a little too excited, but we won't talk about that. And if you were wondering how they made Elliot look like he was 7 feet tall, they used some good old-fashioned blue screens.
Later, we would composite the shot to make sure that he wasn't running through somebody or that the choreography was right and the timing was correct.
It's a simple effect that's been done hundreds of times before, and as long as characters aren't crossing over each other or interacting, it's pretty easy to do. But here, when Elliot takes this notepad from this kid to sign it, you can kind of see where it looks a little funky. And this sweating gag, are you kidding me?
Oh man, you just gotta play one game at a time and go out there and give 110%, and you just gotta show that you want it more than they do when chips fall where they may.
To do this, they put a few tiny holes just underneath his wig, hooked up to tubes that they kept pumping water through. And since it was a ton of it going over his eyeballs, Frasier had to wear contacts to deal with it.
Oh man, my contact just fell out of my eye.
I love that at the end, he's yelling Diablos #1, but he puts up 2 fingers instead. Later on in the locker room, the Allison from this reality shows up as a reporter. It's pretty neat to find out how they did these scenes too. For these wide shots, Frasier was against a blue screen again, so they could cut him out and scale him up. But for these close-ups, they use forced perspective, where actors aren't anywhere near each other, but framed so that one is way bigger than the other. And speaking of big,
You must have an enormously huge talent to do what you do.
you know, women only want one thing, and it is disgusting.
Oh my God.
Oh! Hey! What the hell?
This movie was just so ahead of its time. Allison loses all interest, and it's time for Elliot to abandon this wish, and I don't blame him. What good is fame, power, and talent if all you're packing is a Tic Tac? To overcorrect, he wishes to be smart, sophisticated, charming, and, oh yeah, you know. Allison falls head over heels for him, and a magical night of drinks and conversation ends perfectly. Or does it?
What the hell is going on, Mary?
People forget, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, how much undeniable chemistry Frasier had with every woman he got paired up with. So it was fun for this scene to completely turn that upside down. In a last-ditch effort to hold on to Allison, Elliot desperately tries to prove that he's straight.
Wait, I can prove to you that I am not gay. Kiss me.
Oh, this is just sad. You shut up, bitch!
The way he just said that needs to be studied, because it is iconic. Now here's where things get interesting. In the original cut, Elliot sits on this bed, and that's where this wish ends. But did you know there's a deleted scene where Hurley comes back and convinces him that it's the bad boys that the girls want? So it leads to this forgotten wish, where he's a rock star. The whole thing's online and it's crazy. His coworkers all at a part, Allison had a part. It goes on for like 9 whole minutes, but if you check the comments, it's universally agreed that it's a good thing this was left out. The tone was bizarrely different from the rest of the movie, and leaving it on the cutting room floor meant that we got this wish instead, where Elliot wants to be the President of the United States. So naturally, this happens.
No.
The whole sequence is pretty short, but it was funny watching Elliot go through it, knowing what would eventually happen. But when this wish comes to an end, we find an Elliot that's a little bit different. He dresses nicer, he's more sure of himself, and he finally finds the confidence that's been there all along.
The version of himself that he learns to accept and love most is the one who he always was, but just wasn't owning it from the very beginning.
All the wild and crazy wishes he went through sent him on a journey of self-discovery. And by the end, when it came time to make his final wish, oh yeah, the Big Mac and Coke counted as a wish to make up for the Rockstar one, Elliot searches within himself and says this.
I wish that Allison has a happy life!
Oh, God.
Turns out that by finally wishing for something other than himself, it voided the contract. And with this new lease on life, he bumps into yet another version of Allison. And as corny as it might sound, the two end up living happily ever after. Bedazzled was lightning in a bottle, and the perfect time capsule of the early 2000s. This movie really had everything. A crazy premise, great performances, timeless humor, expert makeup, sharp writing, and an actual character arc that felt earned. Even as a kid, I knew it was something special, and now as an adult, I can appreciate it on a whole other level. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble. Hey, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.